Hi Nav, Rich Lanza here. Just wanted to give you an update on my blogs. I do apologize for not sending a bunch over, although I have a bunch planned and many of them almost written, so I wanted to kind of talk to you about that. First off, the automating Excel formatting. I've come up with something I want to show you, but I gave a demonstration of this at the Lehigh Valley ACL users group, and they loved it. And actually, one guy called me up and said, can I have it for free? And I actually said, yeah, I want to give it out for free to everybody, so I gave them the files, but I also want to do a blog and a video that explains, how to do it. Also, I'm finding automating your control testing also kind of is in line with the time savings of the Excel formatting, kind of the cost savings of your SOX testing, for automating your control testing. I'm trying to stay within some boundary of saving money. With this one, by automating the tests that you would do Sarbanes-Oxley for that testing, what I find is that you end up spending a lot of time with manual testing. There's a lot of testing happening every quarter, and why not put that into some sort of an automated routine? So I have a lot of studies there from the PCAOB, AICPA, PricewaterhouseCoopers. There's like 4 or 5 that I pulled together and came up with some really cool comments that we can put in there and show the value of analytics and how you can really speed the time of doing the testing but do a better job. And we'll explain that a little bit with General Ledger in the first article. The second one, I'll focus on accounts payable and all of the different tests you could do there, but probably focus on 3 to 5, keep it simple. And then revenue the same, where I come up with a bunch of ideas, but then maybe just show how to do 1 or 2. So the idea here, though, is getting this concept of automating controls. And I had a LinkedIn conversation about it where people were coming back and forth on it. So I think this would be a great thing to plug in there and then regenerate the conversation. So I wanted to show you, though, before anything else. Let me just kind of close that out. The actual Excel formatting tool. So what I found was that with ACL, a lot of times when you're exporting data, you spend a lot of time waiting for ACL to export a large file. Now, I don't have a large file here, okay? This is a very small file, as you'll see in a second. But it's a fixed export. So it's when you're in ACL, you just literally save it as a text file, and it saves the display of ACL within there. So what I have is a little formatter tool. What we have is the full path of the data file, the text file, and the report name that we want as a tab in this Excel spreadsheet. And then we have a lookup table. And all this is a copy and paste of the display command. You literally type display into the command log, and you get this, and you copy that into here. And that's called the lookup table. And this is kind of showing in that first article how we can do one import. But what's cool is you could have this Excel spreadsheet that we just showed. You could have multiple ones for each work paper. So what will happen is the formatter is only like 48 kilobytes, and it'll import this fixed length file. So we go update sheet, and of course it doesn't find it, so I'm looking for it's already there, so I'm going to delete what's there and then go overwrite it. So it had a little error handling even to say, hey, you already have GL data here, what do you want to do? But if I delete that and I rerun this, notice it will update it. What it does is it copies the actual length from here and uses that, and then also it takes a look into here as to format, and here is to format as well. And I even tried to think about like EPSIDIC and VAT float and all these other weird ACL data field types to make sure that they're numeric or ASCII or date. So that's kind of step 1, and that's kind of cool. But what's really cool is we've developed a little script in ACL. And I'll just quickly open this up. I have version 11, just so you all know, but it's just opening it up in 10.5 right now. In the log, I have an execute statement, and here's the execute statement. I guess we could run it, but I just wanted to show you what it's going to do. Is it kicks off a little Visual Basic code, and for the actual user, I think I just ran it, by the way. For the actual user, it's really not that big of a deal because they don't have to really update much of this code in order to make it work. So it's not really that hard. Here it is. The only thing they need to update is the false or true, and I'll explain that in the article, but everything else you keep the same. And then what you have is a file here, which is this kind of fixed export or fixed import export sort of formatter. But what's really cool about this one, excuse me, is what you're able to do is have lots of files and have lots of lookup tables. And what ACL does automatically, I already just ran it. I actually double clicked on that VBS script, and what it did was it followed my settings and created this morning these fixed exports. And these exports are totally formatted, perfectly set up. There's no issue there. So that's great. And what you do is you just copy the format once for each data type. And what the program does, and I had a macro person do this, it was really cool. It goes through and it'll actually figure out the data fields that you have here, and it'll figure out what your data table had. So the data table, if I got this right, is in the data import. Let me just open this up with the right product. So essentially it'll look up this table, kind of figure out, all right, that's not it. Then it goes to this lookup table, and it looks at the data and says, yeah, that's it. Those are the 3 columns. And then it knows to kind of format accordingly. So, overall, this is a great way of, automating multiple workbooks, bringing it into Excel. And what's really cool with your little execute function is that what you're able to do is run this as part of the script. So while the script's running, it will then kick off a VBS script to then create the Excel files. So while they're still in ACL, the Excel stuff in the background is happening, and by the time they're done, everything's done and no one notices, in a way that, like 2 different processes were working at the same time, as I will explain as well. So this would be the second article, and I want to break it up into 2 because it's a kind of a big topic, but yet if you can do this, what's really great about it, the real benefit, is the time savings. You're going to be able, to export files from ACL now, 500,000 record files in maybe, 8 seconds, 5 seconds, really quick. Whereas the Excel export of that would take maybe 45 minutes. I mean, it was crazy how long it will take for a large file. So this is something I wanted to kind of get across, but also kind of say, hey, because of the formatting of Excel, it takes a while to export it that way. Fixed export is always better. Here you go, and here's the approach to importing it and saving a lot of time, and using this execute function in ACL, which I can try to kick off here. And what that did is, it started successfully. And then in the background, what happened here is it went to the data import folder, grabbed what it needed, and in the results folder it set that up. And again, all of these folders, you could decide where it goes. You don't have to follow what I'm doing. All you have to do is update from a user perspective. They just kind of update where's the data and where's the output location. And to do that, they set all of that using buttons up here. So it's really easy, like, where do I set the data folder? Where's the output location? And then if you want to import manually, you could click there. But I think the better way to do it is through ACL. So wanted to kind of show you that. I think it's a really neat couple of tools. Happy to give them out to people. And let me know what you think.